The Spiritual Caveman, How Ancient Human Instincts Still Shape Our Spiritual Lives, by David Rousseau. You are not as modern as you think. Beneath your habits, technology, and language, something older is still watching the world through you. Introduction. The caveman inside us. We like to think of ourselves as modern, sophisticated, and evolved. Our cities rise like monuments to human achievement. Our technology connects the world, and our knowledge seems boundless. Yet, beneath the surface of our polished lives, there lies a part of us that hasn't changed in tens of thousands of years, a part that still whispers in the language of survival, curiosity, and wonder. Close your eyes and imagine a human sitting outside a flickering fire, under a sky so dark and vast that the stars feel infinite. That human is staring at the unknown, feeling both awe and fear, seeking patterns, stories, and meaning. That human is, in every essential way, you. The Spiritual Caveman asks a deceptively simple question. Have we truly evolved beyond our origins, or are we still spiritual cavemen living in modern caves? From the need for safety to the desire for understanding, from creativity to community, from fear to ritual, the instincts of our ancestors are alive inside us. They shape the way we think, create, explore, and even worship. In these pages and through the rhythm of this audiobook, we will journey back to our first caves, first fires, and first art. We'll explore how the same instincts that guided early humans continue to guide us today. You'll see how modern tools, cities, and technology are only new layers on top of the same primal desires to belong, to understand, and to connect to something greater than ourselves. This is not a history lesson, and it is not a scientific paper. It is a mirror, reflecting the ancient human within each of us. It is a call to awaken the curiosity, courage, and spirituality that never left, even as the world around us changed. So, as you listen, I invite you to ask yourself, what parts of the caveman still live inside you? How do they whisper in your thoughts, guide your passions, or shape your search for meaning? And most importantly, how can reconnecting with that ancient spark illuminate the path to a richer, more spiritual life today? Because no matter how far humanity has traveled, no matter the skyscrapers or satellites, we are still under the same sky, still seeking the same answers, and still, in many ways, the same spiritual caveman. Chapter 1. The First Cave. Long before cities, skyscrapers, or even tents, there were caves, dark, echoing spaces shaped by time, wind, and water. To early humans, they were more than shelter. They were sanctuaries. They offered protection from storms, predators, and the uncertainty of the wild. Inside them, life slowed. Humans could rest, observe, and imagine. In the glow of firelight, the first sense of home was born. Today, we live in houses, apartments, and offices. We call them homes, but the instinct remains the same. We still seek safety, stability, and a place to return to a modern cave where the outside world cannot reach us. We still create boundaries, whether through doors, rooms, or personal spaces where we think, create, and recover. But the cave is more than physical. Psychologically, it is a refuge where we return to ourselves. Ancient humans hid from danger. We stepped back from stress, judgment, and noise. And just as they marked cave walls with symbols and stories, we shape our environments with meaning through art, books, music, and objects that reflect who we are. The need for safety, space, and reflection is not a modern luxury, it is an ancient instinct. By recognizing it, we honor something deeply human. The first cave was not only shelter from the storm, it was a place to pause, to think, and to prepare. Our modern caves still serve that role. Spaces where the mind settles, the spirit quiets, and clarity returns. In every room you close the door to, every quiet corner you claim, and every moment you step away from the noise, you return to that same instinct, that cave within you that has always been there, and always will be. Chapter 2. Fire and Discovery. Imagine the first time a human discovered fire. The sudden warmth, the dancing light, the crackle pushing back darkness and cold. Fire was more than survival, it was revelation. It illuminated possibility, ignited curiosity, and transformed the world. With fire came tools, with tools came invention, and with invention came the earliest spark of human progress. But fire did not only illuminate, it also destroyed. The same force that gathered humans together also gave them power over nature and over each other. Around that fire, something else emerged, a place of gathering, of stories, laughter, warnings, and shared knowledge. Fire was not just light, it was connection. It was where meaning was exchanged in the glow of survival and imagination. Today, that fire still exists, but it has changed form. We no longer gather around flames. We gather around screens. The light is still there, but now it comes from a phone held close in the quiet of a room. It is where stories are told, information is shared, attention is pulled. What once illuminated a circle of humans, now illuminates individuals. Spread across the world, we illuminate the world and drown in information. A notification lights up a dark room, briefly replacing silence the way fire once did. The instinct has not changed, only its form. We build apps instead of spears, rockets instead of rafts, computers instead of clay tools. Yet the underlying drive remains: to discover, to innovate, to understand what surrounds us. That spark of curiosity, the one that once gathered our ancestors around firelight, lives in every idea, invention, and act of creation. On a human level, fire represents empowerment. The same thrill early humans felt turning darkness into light is what we feel when we overcome uncertainty, learn a new skill, or reveal something once hidden. Spiritually, it reminds us that curiosity is not accidental, it is inheritance. Every time you learn, build, or imagine, you are tending that inner fire. You are continuing the same impulse that once pushed humans beyond the cave and into possibility. That spark, the fire within you, is the essence of growth, creativity, and becoming. In its glow, you realize discovery is not only about the world outside you, it is about what is revealed within you. The flames of curiosity, wonder, and courage are still there, waiting for attention, waiting to be used, waiting to become something more. Chapter 3. Under the same stars. Long before telescopes, satellites, or smartphones, humans looked up. They lay on cold earth, huddled together, staring at a night sky so vast it could swallow them whole. The stars were not just points of light, they were questions, stories, mysteries begging to be understood. Early humans wondered, what is out there? Who am I? Why am I here? And in that wonder, the seeds of spirituality were planted. Even today, under city lights or in quiet moments in your backyard, the same impulse calls to you. That same awe and curiosity, the deep need to connect with something greater is still inside you. Psychologically, looking up reminds us of perspective. The universe is bigger than our problems, our fears, our routines. Spiritually, it whispers that life is more than survival. It is experience, reflection, and connection. The night sky teaches patience. Stars do not rush. Galaxies do not hurry. They remind us that our search for meaning is a journey, not a checklist. And just as ancient humans used the stars to navigate, to tell stories, and to understand the cycles of life, we too can use wonder as a compass. Wonder ignites curiosity, fuels creativity, and opens the door to insight and spiritual growth. Every time you pause to gaze upward, to marvel at the vastness, you reconnect with your ancestral self. That human who stared at the stars felt both small and infinite. And that paradox is true for you today. You are a finite being capable of infinite thought, feeling, and imagination. That connection to the universe, to the unknown, and to your inner self is timeless. So tonight, step outside, look up, let your mind wander across constellations, across time, across possibility. Feel the same awe your ancestors felt. Remember that the search for meaning, the quest to understand, and the longing to connect to something greater are not modern inventions. They are ancient instincts, written into your very being. Under the same stars, we are still the same curious, searching, spiritual humans we always were. Chapter 4. The First Art. Imagine a human standing in a dim cave, hands smeared with ochre, brush or finger tracing shapes on cold stone. A bison, a handprint, a symbol of the hunt. It doesn't just represent survival, it represents expression, imagination, and connection. That first art was more than decoration. It was a window into the mind, a reflection of the spirit, a declaration. I exist. I feel. I see the world. Creativity is one of the deepest human instincts, just as early humans used art to communicate, remember, and understand their lives. We too continue this ancient dialogue. Paintings, music, writing, dance all are echoes of the first brushstroke on a cave wall. They are our attempt to translate experience into meaning, to reach beyond ourselves, and to touch something larger than our own existence. Psychologically, creating art helps us process the world. It allows us to express what words alone cannot contain. Spiritually, art connects us to others, to history, and to the universal human longing for transcendence. Every poem, every song, every sketch is a bridge between the finite and the infinite, a spark of the sacred within the ordinary. Even in the digital age, when images are instant and music streams endlessly, the instinct behind creation hasn't changed. The urge to express, to mark our presence, to communicate the intangible remains as primal as it was in the first cave. That urge is a reminder that within you lies a deep well of imagination, waiting to be released, shaped, and shared. So, when you pick up a pen, hum a tune, or simply notice the beauty around you, remember that you are continuing a lineage that stretches back tens of thousands of years. You are touching the same impulse that guided the first human to make a mark on stone, to say, I am here, and my spirit matters. Every act of creation, no matter how small, is a sacred continuation of the human story, a story of curiosity, courage, and the eternal desire to leave a trace of our souls on the world. Chapter 5: The Tribe. Long before cities, offices, or social media, humans survived by sticking together. The tribe was more than a group of people, it was a lifeline. Safety, food, warmth, knowledge, and emotional support all flowed through these small communities. Alone, a human was vulnerable. Together, a human was strong. Community was not a choice, it was instinct. Even today, that instinct shapes us. We seek connection, belonging, and understanding. But in a world of constant access, connection can become an illusion. A person can be surrounded by voices, notifications, and conversations and still feel completely alone. Psychologically, humans thrive when they feel seen and supported. Spiritually, we are nourished by shared stories, rituals, and traditions. Whether it's a family dinner, a circle of friends, or a group moving toward a shared goal, the tribe reminds us we were never meant to navigate life alone. Today, the tribe does not always gather around a fire, it gathers around shared interests. A person scrolling through social media is not simply passing time. They are searching for recognition, for agreement, for belonging. With every like, comment, and follow, small digital tribes form groups bound not by geography, but by attention and meaning. A person scrolls through comments late at night, not looking for information, but for recognition. Even something as simple as a group of listeners drawn together by audiobooks, ideas, or storytelling becomes a modern tribe. They may never meet, may speak different languages, live in different places, yet they gather in the same space, pulled by the same instinct, to connect, to learn, and to belong to something larger than themselves. The fire has changed, but the gathering has not. The ancient tribe also taught the first lessons in storytelling, around fires and in caves. Humans shared experiences, explained mysteries, and passed wisdom across generations. Stories were the glue of survival. They educated, comforted, and gave meaning to uncertainty. Today, storytelling remains just as vital. Books, films, music, and even personal conversations allow us to share inner worlds and feel less alone inside them. Community is not just survival, it is purpose. The tribe gives life meaning, strengthens empathy, and shapes who we become. Every relationship you nurture, every team you support, every act of care strengthens the web you belong to. That web is your modern tribe, a continuation of the same instinct that once kept humans alive in the wilderness. So remember this: the impulse to belong, to share, and to support others is not accidental. It is written into you. By embracing your tribe, family, friends, colleagues, or community, you honor something ancient within yourself. You are part of a chain that stretches back to the first humans huddled together in the dark, sharing warmth, wisdom, and hope. And in nurturing those connections today, you keep the spirit of the tribal life strong, present, and enduring. Chapter 6. The Birth of Questions. Long before philosophers, scientists, or theologians, humans asked the first questions. Why does the sun rise? Why do we live? Why do we die? These were not idle curiosities. They were the beginnings of a spiritual and psychological awakening. Early humans confronted the unknown with wonder and courage, and in doing so, they laid the foundation for every journey of understanding that followed. Asking questions is an instinct as ancient as fire and shelter. Psychologically, it sparks growth, reflection, and self-awareness. Spiritually, it connects us to the mysterious, the infinite, and the sacred. The first humans didn't have answers, but they had curiosity, and curiosity is a kind of faith. It trusts that meaning exists, even if it has yet to be revealed. Questions shaped rituals, ceremonies, and the earliest forms of spirituality. Observing nature, birth, death, and the stars, humans created stories, myths, and practices to make sense of life's mysteries. They weren't just seeking explanations, they were seeking connection. With each other, with the world, and with something larger than themselves. This is the same instinct that drives your own search for purpose, understanding, and truth today. Even in a world overflowing with information, the power of asking why and how remains profound. Every question you ask about life, love, purpose, or your own inner world awakens your mind, expands your consciousness, and nourishes your spirit. Each question is a spark, a flame of curiosity passed down from your ancestors, reminding you that uncertainty is not a barrier, it is a door. So embrace your questions. Let them guide you. Let them pull you deeper into reflection, connection, and discovery. The spiritual journey begins not with answers, but with the courage to ask. And in every question you honor, you awaken the ancient human inside you, the first thinker, the first seeker, the first spiritual explorer who looked at the world and whispered, "There must be more. I must know." Chapter 7. Fear, Mystery, and Meaning. Imagine a storm rolling across the plains, thunder shaking the earth, lightning splitting the sky. Early humans felt fear, awe, and wonder all at once. These were experiences beyond their understanding, forces of nature that demanded attention, respect, and reflection. And from this fear came meaning. Humans didn't just survive. They sought to understand, to interpret, and to find patterns in the chaos. Fear is not weakness, it is a guide. Psychologically, it sharpens perception, heightens awareness, and fuels problem solving. Spiritually, it points toward the unknown, inviting humans to ask questions, perform rituals, and create stories that connect the individual to something greater than themselves. Early humans turned mystery into meaning, and in doing so, they gave birth to the spiritual impulse that lives in all of us. Even today, storms are not the only unknowns we face. Life presents questions we cannot immediately answer. Loss, uncertainty, injustice, change. And just as our ancestors faced natural forces they could not control, we face inner and outer mysteries that challenge us. How we respond to fear determines whether we are overwhelmed by it, or whether we transform it into courage, insight, and growth. Creating meaning from mystery is a uniquely human ability. It is the bridge between survival and purpose, between instinct and consciousness. Our myths, philosophies, religions, and personal reflections are modern echoes of the first humans sitting by the fire, trying to make sense of the thunder, the stars, and the unknown. They remind us that fear is not the enemy, it is a signal, a teacher, and a portal to wisdom. So, when you feel uncertainty, anxiety, or the weight of life's mysteries, remember this. You are walking the same path your ancestors did. Each fear faced, each mystery explored, and each question asked is a step toward understanding, connection, and spiritual growth. The unknown is not something to escape, it is something to engage with, honor, and transform. Within every shadow, there is a spark of insight, and within every challenge, an invitation to awaken the ancient human spirit inside you. Chapter 8. Learning for the first time. Long before classrooms, books, or even language, humans were learning. Every day was a lesson in survival: how to find food, make tools, read the weather, or track a herd. Mistakes were costly, yet each error was also an opportunity. Early humans learned not just to survive, but to understand the world around them, and in that process, they discovered the profound human capacity to adapt, grow, and innovate. Learning is instinctive. Psychologically, it shapes our thinking, memory, and decision-making. Spiritually, it is a pathway to self-discovery, resilience, and wisdom. Each lesson, whether small or life-changing, connects us to the essence of our humanity, the drive to know, to master, and to expand our understanding of life. The first humans did not wait for someone to teach them. They explored, experimented, and discovered, guided by curiosity and necessity. Today, we continue that journey in different forms. Every time you read a book, study a new skill, reflect on an experience, or step into the unknown, you are continuing the same ancient practice. Learning transforms fear into confidence, mystery into understanding, and confusion into insight. It reminds us that growth is not accidental. It is cultivated through curiosity, patience, and courage. The process of learning also teaches humility. Early humans realized that the world was bigger than any single mind, yet full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. In the same way, modern humans are constantly reminded that knowledge is infinite and that the journey of discovery never truly ends. Each day presents an opportunity to explore a new idea, ask a new question, or uncover a deeper truth. So, embrace the learner inside you. Nurture curiosity, welcome challenges, and see mistakes not as failure, but as stepping stones toward wisdom. Every skill you acquire, every truth you uncover, is part of a timeless human legacy, a legacy that began with the first humans learning under the sun, guided by necessity, instinct, and wonder. The caveman within you is still learning, still exploring, and still growing, and so is the spirit that lives alongside that ancient curiosity. Chapter 9. The Modern Cave. Thousands of years ago, the cave was a sanctuary, a place to rest, reflect, and prepare for what lay beyond. Today, our caves look different. They are bedrooms, offices, meditation corners, or the quiet glow of a screen late at night. The walls have changed. The roof may be steel instead of stone, but the instinct remains. Humans need spaces where they feel safe, grounded, and able to reconnect with themselves. A door closes, a screen turns on. The outside world disappears without ever leaving the room. For many, the modern cave is not carved from stone, but built within the walls of a bedroom. A door closes, the world softens, and within that space, a person creates their own environment. Screens glowing, music playing, a game console connecting them to others across the world. What appears to be solitude is often something more complex. A person sitting alone at night may be speaking with someone thousands of miles away, sharing ideas, laughter, or competition. Languages differ: Spanish, Chinese, English, yet connection remains. The cave, once a place of isolation, has become a gateway. And still, the instinct is the same: to feel safe, to explore, and to connect. The cave protects, but it can also isolate. What begins as refuge can become retreat. What begins as rest can become avoidance. The cave is no longer silent, but it is still ours. For some, the modern cave begins in childhood. A bedroom becomes more than a place to sleep, it becomes a world. Walls turn into stories, imagination takes shape, and identity quietly begins to form. I remember walls painted not as decoration, but as expression. One room alive with Superman, another with Batman, heroes watching over the space, turning an ordinary bedroom into something larger than itself. On another wall, corks stretched from end to end, filled with pinned papers, ideas, fragments of curiosity and creativity. It was not just a room, it was a canvas, a place to think, to imagine, to become. And in that space, the instinct was already there, to create refuge, to shape environment, to leave a mark. The modern cave is not something we discover later. In life, it is something we begin building from the start. Psychologically, the modern cave allows the mind to slow, emotions to settle, and creativity to emerge. Spiritually, it becomes a place of reflection where we listen inward and reconnect with something deeper. Just as our ancestors once gathered around firelight and marked cave walls with stories, we still seek spaces to process, express, and understand. Yet modern life blurs the boundaries of these caves. Noise, distraction, and constant connection make true retreat harder to find. Technology can offer refuge, but it can also steal solitude. Even so, the instinct remains to step back, to reflect, to recharge. Your modern cave can take many forms: a quiet walk, a journal, a chair by a window, a room filled with music or books. Anywhere you create safety, space, and clarity. Every time you honor it, you tap into something ancient, the intelligence of retreat that once kept humans alive. So don't underestimate withdrawal. In it, you are not escaping, you are preparing. You are not hiding, you are resetting. And in that space, you rediscover the part of you that has always known. Rest, reflection, and refuge are essential to growth. And when does that instinct guide you, and when does it hold you back? Chapter 10. The Spiritual Caveman. Today, look around. Cities rise as monuments to human achievement. Technology connects the globe, and knowledge flows faster than ever. Yet beneath it all, the ancient human still lives within you, the same curious, questioning, creative, and spiritual being who once sat by a fire, painted on cave walls, and stared at the stars in wonder. The spiritual caveman is not a figure of the past. It is a presence within you now. It shapes your instincts, fuels curiosity, and drives your need for connection. It calls you to seek meaning, embrace mystery, and keep the inner fire of purpose alive. Every act of creation, every moment of reflection, every question you ask continues that ancient journey. Modern life has given us tools, comfort, and knowledge our ancestors could never imagine. But it has not changed what we are. We still crave community, still face fear, still seek understanding, and still wonder at what we cannot explain. Growth is not measured by what we build, but by curiosity, courage, and connection. To honor the spiritual caveman within you is to balance instinct with awareness, safety with exploration, solitude with belonging, fear with awe. It is to recognize that your inner fire, curiosity, creativity, and the search for meaning is not just mental, but deeply human and spiritual. So step into your modern life with awareness. Carry the lessons of caves, fire, stars, and first art. Ask questions, create, connect, reflect. The spiritual caveman is not behind you in history. It lives in every decision you make and every moment you seek understanding. You are the continuation of a story that began tens of thousands of years ago. The spiritual caveman is you, curious, courageous, creative, and alive under the same sky, still searching, still growing, still becoming. Conclusion: still under the same sky. Look up. The stars are the same ones your ancestors gazed upon tens of thousands of years ago. Cities have risen, technologies have changed, and knowledge has expanded beyond imagination, but the human heart, mind, and spirit remain deeply familiar. Beneath the layers of progress, the caveman inside you is still curious, still searching, still seeking connection and meaning. We have built homes, created communities, and developed tools that would have seemed miraculous to our earliest ancestors. Yet the same instincts, curiosity, creativity, courage, and the longing for understanding still guide our choices, shape our relationships, and fuel our spiritual journey. Progress has changed our environment, but it has not changed our essence. Psychologically, this recognition is liberating. It reminds us that our fears, our desires, our questions, and our need for refuge are natural, timeless, and part of a larger human story. Spiritually, it is humbling and empowering. The search for meaning, the desire to connect, and the drive to explore the unknown are not accidents, they are our inheritance, the spark passed down through every generation. Your life is a continuation of that ancient journey. Every question you ask, every act of creation, every moment you seek understanding or connection, you honor the caveman within. You are both modern and eternal, grounded in the world, yet reaching for something beyond it. So carry this awareness with you. Step into life with curiosity, courage, and reverence for the mysteries around and within you. Build your own fires, create your own art, nurture your tribe, and embrace the unknown with wonder, because no matter the world we build, no matter how far we advance, We remain under the same sky, humans still seeking, still growing, and still spiritual cavemen at heart. And in that recognition lies your power to live fully, explore deeply, and awaken the timeless spirit that has guided humanity. From the first cave to your life today,